Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Mike Van Doozy with the Hopeful Headlines, and I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. I'm just going to jump right into this. It's a little story, and like I said, it's really important to me, my wife, and we'd like to share, even though it's tough. We saw a story one day, it was years ago, and it was about a little girl. She had terminal cancer, and she was, I think, a freshman or sophomore in high school, and they knew she would never make it to senior prom. So the school made her honorary prom queen, and we saw that story. I think it was on national news, or at least a regional one down here in the South. And we contacted one of them and just asked, we know she's going through tough times, and if she'd like a mural or something, and just something to make her day a little bit brighter, just to help her out a little. And they said, yeah, that'd be fantastic. And we asked, what did she like? If she could have a mural of anything, what would she like? And they said, well, they didn't know what she liked in particular, but they did know that she always wanted to go to Paris. So Keely said, okay, she'll paint a scene of Paris. And what Keely does is she paints murals, and she paints them on canvas on a wall, and instead of being framed in that, it's just glued up like wallpaper. And you can put it anywhere, but Keely's painting it so you could paste this thing on a wall and it looked like a window. So where there's just a plain wall, all of a sudden you have a window looking outside, and she painted a little scene. It had flowers, a little walkway, and then it had Eiffel Tower in the distance. I think a little pug too. And Keely, she, bless her heart, she was doing this in her spare time. It was back, before we were full-time content creators, and we had to actually work to, pay the bills and get food to eat and stuff like that. So Keely, we'd work during the day, and then at night she'd, work on this painting. Of course, Keely likes to go above and beyond, and whenever she gets to painting something, she's always adding stuff. So it was like 2 weeks she was painting it, but the relatives had contacted us and said that she had taken a turn for the worse and was actually in a coma. So they said, they appreciate the gesture, but they're not sure she's going to come out of it. So thank you anyway, but we didn't have to finish it up. And Keely said she was just about done, so she would finish that night, and we'd ship it out, and told them if she wakes up, it'll be there for her, and if not, just give it to someone else who you think, might help, and it just makes somebody's day, right? So Keely finished it up. She stayed up late that night. She got it done. I packed it up and shipped it out the next morning. And then, just like all our other stuff, we just send it off. We don't expect to hear back. We don't expect to hear thank you or anything. It's, it's done. It's just putting good into the world, and you don't expect anything after that. It was a couple of weeks later, I think like about 3 weeks, the relative, I think it was their aunt, had contacted us and said that she did pass away, but they got the mural and they hung it up, and they said she did wake up like for a few hours one day, and she couldn't speak, but they said she opened her eyes and she could see, and she saw the mural and she smiled. So that, just melted our hearts, and to some people, it seems like not that big of a gesture. It didn't take a whole lot of time, and she only saw it for a few minutes, but it was like, Tess, it was like huge. And it's to think that, that you can bring a little bit of happiness to somebody who, is in a situation like that. It just gives us a perspective that life is short. Somebody might take your parking space or cut you off in the store, or the cable might go out, and just any number of things that we complain about. And we're going through like really rough times right now with inflation and prices, and everybody having to tighten their belt. And there's a whole lot of complaining going on, but you got to think that even with all the bad stuff that's going on, all the good stuff comes along with it too. if you think your life is bad, at this very moment, there's someone taking their last breath, and they would do anything to change places with you. So, just keep everything in perspective. I know things are getting kind of rough in that, but, life is still good. There's still a lot of opportunities. We take the good with the bad. And just like what we're talking about with this podcast is we're going to try and outweigh some of the bad with a whole lot of good. So you guys, that's why we do what we do. There's lots of stories like this. We don't share a whole lot of them, but I think that was important because life's short, and that just gives us a fresh perspective on things. And it shows how powerful the internet is. For that moment to happen was because we saw it. We interacted. I think it was on Facebook. We contacted them. Before we would never have had like the chance. It would have been like really tough, but it was just really easy to contact them, and then switch numbers and addresses, and we got everything taken care of. And it's all because of this thing that everybody demonizes. So the internet's what we make it. It's how we use it. It's not good or evil. It's the people that use it. So we like to use it for good. And if you guys know anybody out there, child or adult, that has a chronic illness or even terminal, let us know. We've got an email. It's the Hopeful Headlines Podcast at gmail.com. Just let us know. Keely, whenever she gets some free time in that, we try to help as many people as we can, and we'll squeeze them in, and just paint a little something, even if it's just a little tiny something. Like we said, if we can just bring a smile to somebody's face, that's all that matters. And if they want us to share their story, we'd be happy to do that. And if they just want to be anonymous and nobody ever knows that anything happened except us and them, then we can do that too. So thank you guys, because you all are part of this. I know it's a little unconventional. People usually don't do things like this, but me and Keely, this is what we've been doing for years. And we're, glad to be able to share it with you, and also happy that you guys can be a part of it. Alrighty. Till next time, live to inspire, keep on going, be the change. I'm Mike Van Duzy. It's the Hopeful Headlines.